So I was, as I normally do, drugging myself and causing my bloodstream to have various psychoactive chemicals inside of it. And then I watched a filmographic experience known as Equilibrium. So I've never seen this movie before. I've also never heard of this movie. I was just scrolling through, and I was just scrolling through. I think it was on HBO Max or whatever. Just scrolling through, what kind of movie do I want to watch? Maybe sci-fi, I don't know, something interesting. This popped up, and then the cover. I like the cover art. It looks kind of like The Matrix. So you know what? Sign me in, sign me up, I'm in. So this movie, pretty good. I'm going to be honest, I liked it. I liked it. It's a good movie. So anyway, so what's the setup? It's another movie. It's kind of hard to spoil it. Like the basic synopsis, is it exists, and then the movie is just kind of a visual experience. So anyway, so they, World War II happens, right? And then, and then eventually World War III happens. And then, that's like the alternate history is World War III happens. And so after World War III, humanity decides, you know what? We're going to do everything we can. The nukes go on, whatever. We're going to do everything we can to avoid a World War IV. Because, it's just not, World War IV. It's got rhyming to it. You don't really want to deal with that. It's going to be hard to pronounce. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. You don't want to deal with World War IV. So anyway, what their solution is to create a new fascist government. So basically, I guess World War III happens and then the fascists win, right? So like we're in the fourth, fifth Reich, whatever one it is at this point. And they, in order to avoid any war, right? Because the fascists won. So if the fascists are winning, or if they won, and they don't want anyone to go against them, and they've got science fiction technology, right? So what did they do? They develop a system of drugging every human in the society. I think they call it like the Great Society or something like that. They drug them several times a day with some sort of substance that mutes all of their emotions. And so the movie opens up with like, the main character who's like, I think they're called like a cleric or something, just like a high like ranking police official essentially in the fascist government. And so basically their role is to go around and destroy art and other such things that would make human beings feel emotion, right? That the whole goal is to like the opening scene is they set the Mona Lisa on fire. I was freaking out. I was like, you can't do that to the Mona Lisa. Also, I don't know if the Mona Lisa is actually that small because it looked kind of small. But anyway, you can't do that to the Mona Lisa. I'm freaking out. They set that bitch on fire and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? No, not the Mona Lisa. Now, I'm not a huge Mona Lisa fan, but I mean, my guy, if you're setting that shit on fire, wow, I'm going to be pretty mad at you. So they set the Mona Lisa on fire and then I'm freaking out. And so again, so then the main character, like his partner or whatever, and so his partner, like, he finds out his partner stole a book, and is reading the book, and, oh no, you can't read books, right? Because if you read books, you might feel something. So then he shoots his partner in the head, bam, bam, boom, right? So he murders his partner. And that's the thing. Okay, so think about it, right? So we're gonna, like, the worst thing in the world is war and like the human impulse to like kill one another, right? That's what the fascist government says. So their solution to that is to have their high-ranking profile, police officers go around and shoot people in the head for reading books, right? You hate like human emotion and human like temptation for like, destruction and rage so much that you go around and murder people. Like, wow, that really makes a lot of sense. But, it's about as logical as any kind of fascist government. So anyway, then he kills his partner and then he kind of like, gets the inkling in his mind, like, oh, maybe I should, feel something. Then there's like the scenes where he first like gets off the drug, right? So he decides to stop taking his drug. And those scenes are really good. Like he's looking in the mirror and he's like feeling, oh my God, that's me. And it's like, that's like me when I did shrooms for the first time. I'm like staring in the mirror and I'm like, oh, right? And then there's also a scene where he looks out the window, right? And the sun is like beaming into his eyes. And that motherfucker is like, he's feeling stuff for the first time in his life. And it's great. So then he decides, you know what? I love to feel. And so then he goes like undercover within the police institution that he is employed in, and tries to basically find a way to kill the fascist leader, of this so-called Great Society, hooking up with like resistance and so forth. And so And it's like there's oh my god, I want to talk about the dog scene. So there's a scene where the main character takes a dog and hides the dog, and it's like, oh, it's such a cute little puppy. And then he murders, well, I guess it's not murder because they're fascists, but then he kills like fucking like 20 fascists that tried to kill him for having the puppy. And I was like, oh yes, he's defending that puppy's honor, right? That scene when he picks up the puppy and he's just holding the puppy in front of his face, and he like, it's so good. It's really good. It's a great scene. And then he kills all the fascists who want to kill the puppy, and it's just great. It's a wonderful movie. It's just really cool. I mean, if you like movies where like fascists get murdered en masse, right? Like there's like so many fucking there's so many scenes where the main character's just like standing in the fucking middle of the room, and there's like 30 fascists around him, and he just starts fucking murdering those motherfuckers. Like, I mean, I guess it's not murder, right? Again, because they're fascists, so they're not human, so you can't murder someone. It's like murdering an ant. Can you really murder an ant? I don't know, but anyway, and then eventually, so he's trying to take down the leader of the fascist government. Then eventually he realizes there is no leader. It was made up. It was a hologram or something, like, facial. It's like he's like a VTuber or something. He's got like that weird like facial recognition software that generates a new face. But then he does like this big standoff with the guy who's pretending to be the father of the fucking society, whatever the fuck. He goes into that guy's chamber, and whoops, he finds out that the leader of this so-called great society, right, the fascist in charge, actually has a secret art stockpile in their office. And so they've been feeling the whole time. They've been looking at paintings. They've been crying, touching the floor the whole time, right? Wow, what a hypocrite. So then he kills the fucking leader and the world is saved or whatever. But anyway, it's a pretty good movie. I'm very interested. Like, I'm just, like it's a good concept for a movie. Like, the movie's got good action to it. The action scenes are really good. Like, the storytelling is pretty decent. But I really love the concept. Like, the concept is really cool. Like, the story, concept for the whole story is just really interesting. And I was into this movie. I endorse it. This is a good movie. And, I endorse it. It's been endorsed. And so go ahead and check it out. There you go.